debt. Joining me now is a college professor whose book is currently profiled on TheBlaze.com/books. And he is an expert not only on what the problems that are plaguing our higher education situation, but also some of the solutions. His name is Glenn Reynolds. He is, like me, hoarding all of the N's, because we both have so many N's. You could take one away and we wouldn't even miss it. He is a professor at the University of Tennessee and author of the new book, The New School, How the Information Age Will Save American Education from Itself. Glenn, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Glad to be here.
Tell me, because I don't see anybody actually talking about, we talk about the price of health care going up, but that is nothing in comparison to the price of an education in this country.
Oh, that's absolutely right. I mean, education has risen at an annual rate that's more than double the increase in family income over the last 20 plus years. It's risen much faster than health care, much faster than housing, in spite of the housing bubble. And what people have done to deal with it is primarily made up the difference in debt. And that's now reached the point where it is not, to use a favorite campus word, sustainable anymore, because the debt is now such that students are starting to look at it and say, it's not worth the degree because I won't make enough money when I get out to repay the debt. And as a result, we're actually seeing some elite colleges have had their credit ratings downgraded by Moody's. We're seeing enrollments drop in a number of institutions. And we're seeing people getting much more interested in other less expensive ways to get what they need to get to move on and join the adult world.
I have to tell you, I'm going to show something in a little while that came from a TED Talk of a 13-year-old kid that's absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, you just don't need... The technology is allowing us to do all kinds of things that we would have thought impossible, really, even 5 years ago, correct?
Oh, that's absolutely right, and it's happening very fast. And, you know, Mitch Daniels, who's the president of Purdue, just put out an open letter to the Purdue community, and one of the things he said was, you know, how are we going to deal with the fact that in 10 or 15 years there are going to be a lot of people who can provide what we provide to people much more cheaply and much more conveniently and without them even having to leave their homes? And I think that's a question that actually a lot of people in higher ed are asking themselves, and a lot of schools are trying to figure out how they're going to adapt to a world that's really changing faster than education has changed in a century or more.
I think that The Onion did, I don't know if you saw this, but The Onion ran a piece the other day. A man graduates from college and earns $11. I think I can't remember exactly, but it was a story that by the time you pay off your education, you're just not going to have anything left. And so many people go to find themselves while racking up this debt. Maybe you find yourself because when you get out, you're so scared of all the debt, you better find to do something. Maybe it's motivation. Talk to me a little bit about certificates, because I think this is one step in the right direction. That you don't need
I think
to have a degree.
No, that's right. A degree had its value originally as sort of a certificate, an indication that you were, you know, reasonably competent and could do a lot of things. And that currency's been diluted. I mean, I have a piece in USA today about the scandal at UNC where they were offering, apparently they've offered a couple of hundred classes where nobody actually showed up and the students just got A's, and you know, the head of the department's been indicted for fraud. But that kind of dilutes the value of the diploma. So there's now this move, and right now colleges are working with them for some outside people, the ETS people, the ACT people, some other people, to come up with certificates that basically certify you've actually learned stuff. It's sort of like taking the bar exam after you graduate law school. And I actually wonder if those things turn out to be sufficiently good that a lot of employers are going to say, well, forget the diploma. The certificate tells us what we want to know, and you can get a certificate a lot more cheaply. You can learn this stuff however you want to learn it. Yeah, and then we'll find out that you've learned it.
Here's the thing that really bothers me is if you're not going to a university, I can't bring you on as an intern. If you're not going to college, I can't bring you in to do any work. I could teach so many people how to do television and how to do really anything, makeup, lighting, even business here. We could have people all over and be teaching them, but I can't do it unless they're paying the man and going to a university, which defeats the whole system. I mean, is there a move at all for apprenticeships?
There's a lot of talk about that, and I actually think it's a very good model. You know, people forget, but you know, as recently as a couple of 100 years ago, basically everybody learned their jobs on the jobs. It didn't matter whether you were a general or a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. You basically did an apprenticeship and got on-the-job training. And you know, if it was good enough for Napoleon, it's probably good enough for us. I mean, I think that that sitting in classrooms has its place, but I think that a lot of it has just been a place to warehouse people and keep them off the job market.
Yeah, and I will tell you that I think there's a lot of people that, you know, if you're going to be a doctor, I really appreciate. Can I see your certificate? I want to make sure that you didn't just pick that up in a book someplace. You know, I went to a Holiday Inn. So there are some things where you do need a diploma, but I think it is such a racket. Beyond that, we have changed as a society to where if I have somebody who wants an apprenticeship or wants an internship, we're viewed as a group of people that might be taking advantage of these youngsters. Excuse me? It could be a really good thing for both of us. They can gain experience and we can get a job done, and they might even get a job out of it at the end. But how come the businesses are never looked at like, we have something to offer? You know, these universities you have to pay thousands of dollars to go to, but I can teach you in a much better way by having you stand right here and do some work, but I'm taking advantage of you. But you leave me without any debt whatsoever.
That's right. The university may leave you with debt well into six figures for the privilege of perhaps not learning anything. I mean, the study shows actually about a little over a third of students who go to 4 years of college actually come out showing no improvement at all on tests of educational attainment. So, you know, it's funny how higher ed gets a pass in a way I think other industries don't.
Yeah, I think those days are over, and thanks to people like you. The name of the book is The New School. It's available everywhere. I want to show